Welcome back to another opportunity to accumulate health. So I remember in sixth grade going out in a Batman costume, door to door, and collecting a couple of garbage bags worth of candy over this thing called Halloween. And then piling a bunch into my backpack on my way to school, and then riding home on the bus after school and feeling terrible. So, have you ever asked yourself, why are we giving out individually wrapped, colorful, food-like substances that on their own, in their individual components, would be considered hazardous for human consumption? But for some reason, come October 31st, we give these substances a pass, out of, the glee that it brings children. Oh, they're just kids, they'll burn it off. Oh, it's so fun, candy. Just seeing the kids get it all. Oh, I just love the smiles on their faces when they get the candy. Oh, it's just once a year. Seriously, if it was really once a year, a couple pieces of poison over Halloween, your favorite candy company would not exist. There would not be enough money to keep them in business. Halloween just happens to be one more opportunity to really nail ourselves to the wall with food coloring, hydrogenated vegetable oils, gums, and emulsifiers, and artificial flavors, and artificial sweeteners, and high fructose corn syrup, and cornstarch, genetically modified everything. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we, in the Western world, celebrate, in this case, those that were martyred for their faith with artificial food? Isn't that just mind-boggling? It seems like, why? It wasn't always this way. In fact, it has really only been for about the last 60 years since big food thought, whoa, you know what? They figured it out. We can make a financial killing by convincing Americans, instead of going house to house, as was done historically, performing songs, poems, or even jokes in exchange for food or money. We ought to get these kids to run around from door to door, business to business, church to church, gathering bushels of nicely packaged edible poisons that we call candy. And man, big food has done really well with this. Even in the early 1900s, this wasn't a thing. It was fruit, it was nuts, it was coins that kids were gleefully receiving as handouts. So it is okay to love your neighbor, your children, or even yourself enough to step back from the bushels of candy and just go another route. Sure, it's going to take a little more energy, but it will also create way more intensive memories for your children. Energy put in leads to memories put out. Not to mention, your kids will be less likely to get sick. They'll be less likely to have those stomach aches. They'll be less likely to have, some weird allergic reactions. They will be able to recognize that it is completely unnatural to have handfuls, of artificial food ingredients loaded onto them as a way to create pleasure. The real trick in the whole trick-or-treating of Halloween is that big food, these huge conglomerates, multi-tens of billion-dollar companies, conned Americans into buying $3.6 billion in candy just over Halloween in 2023. $3.6 billion for one day. Is that crazy? It has nothing to do with the smile on your child's face, as they devour that blue treat from, the blue 5 or 40 or whatever it is. It has everything to do with making loads of money at the expense of the health, both physically, mentally, of your child. I think, we owe it to our children and to ourselves to go a little different, to live a different path. We are health accumulators. To stop pandering to the slick marketing campaigns and literally live absolute, our best lives, full of energy, full of vigor, full of the capacity to focus. I would love to hear what you're doing for Halloween. Do you plan to follow the crowd of candy lemmings? are you going to live differently? You could say, Dr. Matt, this is kind of harsh, isn't it? No, this is legit. This is real. There's nothing to the benefit of the human by eating that taffy. There's nothing to the benefit of the human by eating that Butterfinger or the Nerds or the, Snickers bar or whatever it is. I was a candyaholic back in the day. I ate candyaholic. I told you my second grade story. And then I won for years. There is literally no benefit to the red dye 40 sprayed corn syrup that's put into a fish form, and we call it Swedish fish. There's no human benefit. We can change the course. The only reason we're in this current situation is because of a slick marketing campaign back in the 1950s. That is why we are here today. Has nothing to do with history, has nothing to do with culture. It has everything to do with a slick marketing campaign and literally industries that would shut down if we stopped consuming the poisons. All right, Dr. Matt, can't wait to see you guys and gals next week.